Welcome to this video, which some of you will say is January the 1st. Personally, I count it as Capricorn the 12th in the year 5917, using the Annus Mundi, which incidentally, test it for yourself, the 138-year intervals of events, the Phoenix years and things. Just all you need, like Jason of Archaic says, is use a calculator. And yeah, okay, you can say they're all stories, but it's a cohesive story that actually makes sense. And I don't want to bring the past into the present, to be honest, because it's like a seance. It puts it to rest, as it were. Something I talked about maybe 2-3 videos back was this Jesus character, which would seem to be based on, or partly based on, a character called Yeshua. Now, of course, if you understand, I think it's Paul's letter to Corinthians, I think it's 13:5, it says, "Do you not realize that Christ is within you?" There's other quotes that basically say the same thing. Psalm 82 is another example. But Yeshua, what are you hearing there? Do you not hear that you are God? It is saying, yes, you are. That is you. Oh dear, the fire seems to have gone out, but we've got a little glow of embers, although we're no longer in December. But yeah, I go with the Annus Mundi calendar. Anyway, to the real point of the video. This morning I went out and missed a turn on the way back and had quite a circuitous route, and it's like, I don't remember coming this way. But it's a nice day, it's nice scenery. Just enjoy the ride, and you know everything will be alright. Sure enough, I get to a point, I'd done basically a massive circle and came in the opposite end of the road from where I should have come in. But no harm done. And what you don't mind doesn't matter. In other words, if you don't focus on worry, it's not going to become a material fact. That, help, I'm lost. I've lost my bearings, I don't know where I am. But it's just another example. I was sent a video by Karen from Sun and Moon Family United channel. An interesting discussion with Gary about the word cemetery. Now, some of you will probably spell it E-R-Y on the end. Some of you may remember it as A-R-Y. But what's it really all about? Let's strip it down to its basic bones. What is it really about? It is really just showing you that the nature of this reality is totally holographic, how things can transition, but it also has a secondary meaning. Bearing in mind it's cemetery, what happens in a cemetery? It's a dead end. So it's another rabbit hole if you're going to start going down these Mandela things. And are you going to find a definitive answer? Or are you just going to find further examples of it? Which I think many have. The answers are always inward. So let's use a biblical analogy here. The word covenant. Now, if everything is all internal, well, surely, therefore, the covenant is also internal. So I'm going to give you a blueprint here, which I have found works. And that is, you're a sovereign being. You're a sovereign state, hopefully the United States of Love. And you set your boundaries, you set your borders. Now, they're not physical fences and boundaries, obviously. We're talking metaphorically in the spiritual. The boundaries are, what are you prepared to put up with? There's this interloper that seems to want to get involved in everything, and you have to submit a form and ask permission to be granted a license for various things. Notice the word submission. This is something I've been in discussion with Lana about, the languaging and what is revealed in it. I mean, it's up to you. What do you class as acceptable? What do you class as no longer acceptable? My personal line in the sand is I'm not partaking in this bullshit of standing in front of some representative of an entity, a corporation or a government, and saying you need to prove who you are. It's like, well, I've got a pulse. I'm standing right in front of you, and yet you won't believe what your eyes are showing you. You want a piece of paper or something. It's like, well, I'm not playing that game anymore. It's like, intimidate as much as you want. But what I found is, by doing that, I have noticed almost instantaneously a total change in the external around me. So how do you do that? Well, you've got to be all in on this one, and you've made a covenant with yourself, so you'd be breaking a promise to yourself and with yourself, and you'd be the one doing it, because you have to take responsibility for whatever you do. So let's give you a way in. I don't know if I've ever spoken about this before, but it's an interesting exercise that may actually help unlock things for more of you. So find yourself a chair to sit in, preferably an upright one, not something like a couch where you could sort of be leaned back slightly and possibly nod off. And then you start with your feet and you flex your toes 10 times, and then you just work your way all the way up the body. Breathing, nice deep slow breaths. Put your arms out, open and close your hands. Tense the muscles, relax them. Tense the muscles, relax them. Maybe do it 10 times, but you'll feel sort of in a relaxed state. Of course, don't try this if you're focusing on worry, because it's not going to work, because your attention will be elsewhere. But bring yourself into this nice, relaxed state of being in the present. Forget about the external world, forget about everything else that's going on. Now you visualize in your mind a traffic light, and you ask it a test question. So picture the traffic light at red. Now you ask it a yes or no question. Green for yes, red for no, amber for maybe. And ask something really simple, like, is the Pope Catholic? And visualize with your mind that traffic light changing from red to green. Now, the next step. Now, ask a question that you feel you don't have the answer to. And just observe that traffic light in your mind's eye. Now, when you are not consciously in control of that traffic light, you've opened a door. Now, because we're in this realm of duality, your higher self is actually in your gut feeling. So it's sort of under, but it's not, because everything's flipped in this reality. It's all duality. So just give that a try. Visualize a traffic light once you've got yourself into a relaxed state. Then let go of control of that traffic light and watch the traffic light change. You'll know if you've got it, because you'll know if you've consciously changed it by your thoughts, or if it would seem to be coming from some supernatural force, shall we say. But it's actually your higher self, your spirit guide, whatever name you want to call it. This is the thing, they're all labels, but it's effectively the same thing. So give that a go if you've not found any other way. I found it to be very successful. And Set your boundaries. What do you consider as acceptable? Or maybe you're quite happy to be a party to something and then involve a third party that will just want to take a slice of the whatever it is through taxes or some other concocted way of extracting energy from you, basically. So submit a form. Submit to yourself. Give away your power, basically. It is all clues in the languaging. But I feel it's something... Some of you may benefit from trying this approach. It's one of these things, I've not exactly had spiritual downloads. I've had flashbacks of, should we say, out-of-body experiences, spiritual encounters. And this is going back maybe 3 decades. I really can't remember. Most of the memories I have are just like dreamlike impressions that are stripped away of the when, the where, and the who else was there. I'm just left with the essence of it all. So you construct in your mind a safe room. Nothing gets in that except yourself. The only other thing that you allow to come into that space is your higher self, your spirit guide. And it came back to me today. I looked at this room I'm in, and it's like, good grief. I've basically subconsciously sort of created a room that pretty much matches that, or is heading in that direction, that it's going to match that safe room. So again, it's an example of how something created in the mind can become material. And of course, don't know the time scale of it. I didn't have a conscious intention of actually creating or events unfolding that create a copy of what I've created in the mind, but it's happened. The weather as well, that's easy to control. I've done laundry today and it was cloudy, and it's like, would prefer to have some sunshine. And sure enough, it changed. Got sunshine, got the washing all dry. That's child's play, but that's the key word, child's play. Be like children, use your imagination. Now many will say, oh, that's not possible. The only way you're going to know that is to try it for yourself. But set your attentions, go all in. You've got to put heart and soul into this. No wavering, no half-heartedness. You've got to go all in. Like I've said before, picture yourself as the archer, picture yourself as the arrow. Picture the target. Now you are that arrow and you are going to hit the bullseye. You're not going to miss the mark. You're not going to become a sinner because you've gone all in. You're seeing it through to the conclusion of what you've created in your mind, which I hope will be heart-centered, gut-centered, heart-centered, mind-centered, in alignment within oneself. Some are saying New Year. Going back to that, actually it's another 80 days away as far as I'm concerned. What I call Aries the 1st, or March the 21st to everybody else. But I'm not going along with that silly calendar either, because that's just a concocted thing that suits a certain group, shall we say, which, as I've said before, is a sort of mirror. If you look at the story of Atlantis, it was said to be destroyed over 20 years at 6-monthly intervals. There's your 2040. And what are we heading towards? You can doubt it, you can disbelieve it. I don't really care. In all honesty, I'm just out here to prove to self what is possible and what is not possible. And the results I have found so far is we are in what you could describe as the ultimate interactive game. And so let's have some fun with it. I'm going along the lines of, well, if we can change the weather, what else can we do? Let's start pushing the boundaries. Let's change the frequency. Let's change to a different signal. Imagine how people would be if they suddenly saw everything solid as gone. So effectively you might look and think, I'm 20 or 50,000 feet in the air, there's nothing below me, but there is, but now your senses can't detect it. Or are you falling and you've got no point of reference? That's wicked, isn't it? But joking aside, it could be an interesting thing to see. An interesting experience to go through, and the only way you're going to know is to go through the experience yourself. So try the pattern of the traffic lights and see if it works for you. Let me know in the comments. It'd be lovely to get some feedback, and hopefully it's helped one or two of you out there open a new doorway, and a door within to one's inner self, to your inner life, to your true being. After all, this material reality wants you to prove who you are. Well, what about going inward and proving who you are to yourself?